Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy KAIO and I'm back again this time to give you another One Piece video, and today's video is a special one. I want to give a shout out to O'Hara, who has been asking a few YouTubers for his special project, which is to basically come out and discuss a topic that we think is underappreciated within One Piece, and this is all because Oda has done 1,000 chapters within One Piece, and you know what, I decided the topic that I want to talk about, the person I want to talk about, is Oda's main character, our future King of the Pirates, Monkey D. Luffy. Now before you guys say, well, what is underappreciated about Luffy because he is the main character? Well, there is a certain part of the community, like myself, that does believe in Luffy and his strength and where he currently is right now. There are some people that are on the boat, and there are some people that don't think he's gonna defeat like Kaido and Big Mum and such, and that he's gonna lose. And this isn't a rant video or anything like that. This type of video is something that I just hope that I can open your guys' minds. So the people that are on the fence, I can hopefully jump in the camp where we do think he's gonna win, and then you got the people that I want to try and sort of bring over and just explain why it's not all about brute raw strength to defeat someone. There's a lot more to it. So this is where I'm going to try and turn Luffy being underappreciated into appreciated when it comes to his actual strength. I'm not going to go through every single arc, but there are some big points that I do want to talk about. And also, with every single arc that's gone on since we first met Luffy, there's always been a connection. That same connection that Luffy's had that's just drove him and pushed him. How to explain it? I'll do it like a sort of tree with like branching off. So in the middle you have Luffy and his Devil Fruit. And in his Devil Fruit, obviously he's got his arsenal, like so his skill sets and his forms and whatever he can do when he gets his Devil Fruit awakening eventually, or he may already have it, we don't know. And then you move on to the left and you have his Haki. So he has his Observational, his Armament and his Conquerors, and then he's got his Advanced Observational and his Advanced Rio, or Armament Haki, whatever you want to call it. Pretty much the same thing. Now there is another one, and it does branch off, like they all connect at the end, so all three of them do connect. What is this third one? This is all the people behind Luffy, so his crew, his Grand Fleet, and everyone that he's met along the way who's needed his help, that he didn't even need to help. So when you look at East Blue and you see everything that he's gone through defeating like Buggy, Kuro, Krieg and Arlong, out of all the ones in the East Blue, they've all had that same thing, even including in the Grand Line and in the New World, because people are believing in him because he's got the leadership. So Luffy has the leadership, the charisma, the ingenuity, the selflessness, the carefree. Okay, yeah, he's simple-minded, but Luffy's got just like a lot of things going for him which influences people, that brings people in to believe in him, and that he's not just fighting for himself, but he's fighting for everyone. Everyone that he's going up against to try and save, whether it would be an island, a village, or, you know, a Dressrosa, which is like, you know, the castles and everything like that. And then you've got Wano, which is a big country, which is like a prison, really. Luffy's basically having everyone inside of him, like the shadows, for instance. That's the best way to put it. So you know, when they're putting all the shadows in him in Thriller Bark, that's what it feels like Luffy's doing. It's not just him on his own. It is to the majority of the standpoint because it's him that's fighting, but he's taking everyone that is crying out for help inside of him, and even including his crew, even though his crew don't really need it, he still needs to show that he's top dog, that he's the top boss. So that's where a lot of his strength comes into it, and we've seen it ever since like chapter 1. Even people that are villains, like ones that join up with him and impel down a Marineford, of course they have their own goals, but it's just crazy to think about. So actually looking at the East Blue, the Arlong Park, I feel like that's the major turning point, because when you have someone like Nami that you thought was part of the crew, that you took on, you had laughs and jokes with, and she's just stitched you up to take back the money to save her village, which is understandable because no one really likes pirates, but because we're on the side of pirates, you know, it makes sense that we think, oh, Nami's bad. But it's everything that she goes through. So when you look at the way that Arlong is treated her and you learn about her backstory and everything, you can see why Nami is doing it. And then when Nami is sitting there and she's wondering why the village is about to go on and take out Arlong, and she knows they're not going to do anything, she's literally sitting there crying and stabbing her arm, screaming Arlong. And then Luffy comes along, takes the hat, my hat, I haven't got my straw hat with me, puts it on her head and says, well, yeah, I'm going to be the one, just sort of just say you need my help. And so she says that, and they've got the boss walk. Luffy goes in, beats the crap out of him, and he's like, you know what, Nami, no matter what, you're always going to be my friend. But it's also the villagers that are backing him. They're like, wow, this guy's actually amazing, and he's come in and he's just doing all this for us. But it's mainly all for Nami, so he's got the strength of Nami, everything that she's gone through, smashing up the room. It just makes so much sense why Luffy is so powerful, even though you think someone like Arlong would be more powerful because he's able to pierce his skin where Luffy is made of rubber. So that is one huge turning point. And then we get to Lowtown. Although nothing really big happened, we had stuff with Smoker where Luffy was just getting his ass whipped, and luckily his dad came in to save him. But with his fearlessness that comes into it, Luffy's just about to die, and he's just like, I don't care. Like, if I die, I die. You know, at least I can say I tried. And even though Buggy was about to, you know, take his head off, it's just funny how things happened where, you know, the storm happened and that. But it is a big thing. You look at all these things, you have to take every single point that you see from every single arc, because Luffy just delivers, he shows these things. And then you move on to the Grand Line where you meet Vivi. And even though Vivi was kind of like a villain where she was like, you know, going under, you know, Miss Wednesday, she still begs for their help, and Luffy goes in. But it's like the fact that he can change people, because Vivi and Luffy have that fight, and he pretty much calls her a wuss, and that you should be doing better, and that, you know, you should just say, like, just be honest. And so they had their argument, and then Luffy finally wins with, you know, just saying it as it is, because that's just him, and he doesn't care who it is, no matter what it is or what it's about. Luffy will just stand his ground. So it just goes to show that even Luffy can be, you know, smart when it comes to things outside of fighting. But it's the fact that he goes on to fight Crocodile, loses twice, but in that second fight realises that, okay, he's a Logia user, I can't touch him, but if I have water on me, that's exactly what he's scared of, that's why it doesn't rain. And then that's when the tables start to turn, and then in the final fight uses his blood, and he's just using that driving force, like, I don't care, he just defeats him. And then you go on to like Sky PR, and just everything that he hears back on Jaya, he goes up there and the bell rings from defeating Eneru, and he's just like, you know what, I'm going to kick your ass. You know, he's made of rubber, Eneru uses like lightning, it's not going to affect him because that's just the way it works, even though people said what Eneru was doing should have actually still fried Luffy. So at that part, yeah, I will give like a bit of plot armor and such to Luffy, so I will hold my hands up on that one. But at the end of the day, we still loved what Luffy did, and so it was great. Like, it was some great moments. And then we go on and we had, you know, the Long Ring Long Land, and a lot of people sort of disregard that. I think it's a funny arc, and that it's good to see Afro Luffy, but it's him still sticking up for his crew at the end of the day, and knowing that his crew are getting taken away, but he knows he needs them because he loves them, and they've all got their own dreams. We move on to the big arc, so Aokiji. Woo! Aokiji, you know, freezing them up and just, you know, freezing everyone else up, scaring Robin. And then knowing that Robin is going through a lot of stuff, she ends up leaving the crew because CP9 threatened to actually kill the Straw Hats. So the Straw Hats then have to go all their way. And this is where it also turns again, because you've got Frankie, who later joins the crew, but defeats Usopp. And Luffy and Usopp have their own fight over the Going Merry, because they know the Going Merry is going to die, and they have their own fight. But you can see Luffy hated doing it because he's in tears. Although Zoro stands there all, you know, like, it's got to happen, everyone else is crying. It's just one of those things, because Usopp still means a lot to the crew, and he's an underrated character as well. I think I might have to talk about him at some point. But with Luffy going through everything that he's going through, and then going up to fight against Lucci, obviously they lose at first, like in Iceberg's mansion, but then they go again, and Luffy learns a lot of things. Like, he observes his opponents in every single way and sees what he can do to sort of adapt and evolve his own Devil Fruit. That's where he comes up with like Gear Second and then Gear Third, and it does prove to pay off. And you see his fight against Bluno, and he's just like saying that his attacks have gone up like another notch, like you're not going to be able to hit him and that you're not going to be able to see him coming. But it's the fact that he realises that he needs to save his crew. And then we get the big like moments that I think are big, where you see Robin come out and he knows that her enemy is the world government, and so he gets Usopp to shoot down the flag, and then, you know, Spandam screams, "You're all going to die," and then Luffy's like, "Yeah, bring it on," and then gets Robin to scream that she wants to live because he wants to hear it in his own words. But it's like, he's not giving up on people, even though some people give up on him and they don't want to. It's like Robin sees that there's someone, and well, not just Luffy, but the whole crew are fighting for her, and that they appreciate her and love her, even though she was a villain. And it's just great to see the way that this all works out. Friller bark as well. So after Luffy has, you know, decimated Lucci to a pulp, and it was just great the fact that he's not giving up, and then Usopp comes in to actually, you know, help out Luffy and bring him back up, even though he's left the crew, and everything goes from there. You know the exact story. Sad times with the Going Merry after that. And with Friller bark, we meet Brook, and Brook hasn't got a shadow, but it's like, why would Luffy want to help him out? I know he's a skeleton man, but I know they ended up there for a reason, but it's like, Luffy didn't have to even help him out. It was only because obviously they lost their shadows as well. But Luffy feels like, you know what, you can't have someone like that around who's just going to be, you know, saying, well, I'm going to take these shadows. These people have to hide in the darkness for so long. It's like, well, I need to do my stuff and these guys need to do their stuff. So, you know, he wins his battle with Mori, combining Gear 2 and Gear 3. And that was another epic moment because he's got everyone on his shoulders. You see the shadows going in, but also everyone else is, like, counting on him to win. And it's like, you know, a fight against, you know, the daylight, which is what we've got now. So, yeah, that's the way. Luffy's against a lot of time here. But now we move on to a point where I think this is one big, big turning point in Luffy's career as a pirate. And this is by losing his crew on Sabaody Archipelago. Of course, he punches St. Charles. We can never, like, forget that. That's always going to be a top moment in One Piece because the guy deserved it. And Luffy just doesn't care who you are, like I said. But when he starts losing his crew to Kuma and they're having trouble fighting a pacifist, they just about manage to defeat one. Sentomaru comes in. Luffy's in tears. Like, Luffy's in absolute tears because he's been completely broken. He's exhausted. He's seen all these crew members just disappear one by one. He ends up getting himself sent to Amazon Lily. But it's just that you feel that emotion because we've never seen Luffy really break down. Of course, there was the Going Merry funeral, but when it comes to this, it's just like you had your crew there a moment ago and now they're gone. Like, they're gone completely. And you're thinking, oh my god, what do I do? And then Luffy ends up Amazon Lily. You know what happens with that. Goes to him down because of Ace. And this is where all the villains come behind him. Of course, they have their own goals, but the villains still want to join him because they need to do what they need to do, but they sort of rely on him quite a bit, even though Buggy's just trying to sort of ditch his way and get away from him, and you have people like Crocodile all that, you know, making their comeback. And yeah, it's weird seeing like a lot of villains go there, and then obviously we know what happens at Marineford. Whitebeard believes in him, Marco believes in him, and they're all backing him, and even Whitebeard says, don't let that kid die, and finding out, you know, that he's Dragon's son, and that, you know, he can use Conqueror's Arc. It even shakes up the Admirals, but the Admirals are a big turning point because they go to show that they're far beyond Luffy, like way beyond his power. Even with, like, getting, you know, the boost from Ivankov, he's got no way of, like, fighting them. He tries and he just gets his ass kicked every single time because they're leagues and leagues above him. And that pushes Luffy. Not just that, but, you know, having Ace die in his arms, even though he got to where he needed to get, which was to get Ace, it's just unfortunate Ace died, and that was it. You have that one thing that breaks you, and then you've got the ultimate thing that breaks you. So you lose what you consider family, even though they're not, even though Ace isn't really, you know, biologically, but because he grew up with him. But you have the crew which you lose, so that's one part gone. And then Luffy loses Ace, and that's another part. So Luffy just crumbles, and that's why he goes on to that, you know, big rampage back on Amazon Lily, where he's just going through and he's just screaming. It's like he just doesn't want to believe it because he can't take it anymore. And it's only because Jinbei comes in and helps him, and he realises even though he's lost Ace, he's still got his crew, and thus comes on the time skip and the training arc with Rayleigh. And I can't believe I almost forgot this as well. On Sabaody Archipelago, just quickly, I'm just going to put this in. With Usopp asking what is the One Piece to Rayleigh, Luffy jumps in and goes, I don't want to know what it is, you know, it's not going to be fun being a pirate. I'll quit if I know what it is, because, you know, he just wants to find adventure, and, you know, whatever the One Piece is, it's that he doesn't care, he wants to have a fun journey. So there's a lot of, like, comparisons to Roger, and I will bring Roger up a little bit later, and a little bit of Joy Boy, but not as much. So going through that and then going to the time skip, we have that little bit of training showing exactly what he can do, like learning all the haki and everything, and just, you know, mastering Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd. And we have Gear 4 coming in Dressrosa, because I'm going to skip past Fishman Island and somewhat of Punk Hazard. The only bits that you could take out of that was what Luffy done by, you know, defeating Caesar and helping out all the kids and forming the alliance, because that's where, you know, the big steps come to this, and, you know, going on to fight Yonko, but meeting Kinemon and Momonosuke because they're a big part of Wano, and then Kundra and Dressrosa and everything like that. And this is where it's a big thing, because Luffy introduces Gear 4, and he's got Gear 4 Bounce Man. We don't see the other two forms until later, and defeats Doflamingo. And there was a point that people would say, I don't think he's going to defeat Doflamingo because Doflamingo's powerful, until Luffy busts that Gear 4 and everyone's like, oh my god. And I was the same. I did have some backing of Luffy, but it's because he's got everyone behind him. And so Luffy does what he needs to do, defeats Doflamingo. That pisses off Kaido to the max. They go on to Zou, and everything goes on there, and they learn a lot more stuff. Not really any fighting whatsoever, because Luffy didn't really need to fight anyone, so by the time he got there, that was that. Then there's a little sidetrack to Whole Cake Island, and now this is another big moment as well, because during that moment with Sanji, where they're having their fight, you can see the pure emotion that Luffy has. He's like, without you, I can't become the Pirate King. Even though Sanji's beating the crap out of Luffy, and Luffy's got back up, and he's just, you know, still taking it all, and then he shouts all that and saying that, you know, he's going to sit there and starve because the only food he'll eat is Sanji's. And then Sanji knows that and he hated doing it. He cried because he had to beat up his own captain and also in front of Nami. And Nami slaps him, which was a great moment. And I love Sanji, but it's just one of those things. And it just goes to show everything that, you know, Nami's crying and it's like, you know, you can believe in Luffy and Sanji knows that. And of course then he does come back, they do their thing, they go to fight Big Mom. Well, Luffy doesn't happen, and that's another big thing. Like, Luffy can't even take on Big Mom. Even in Gear 4, he's just getting slapped back and forth. He then tries to take on Katakuri, and for 90% of the fight, he gets slammed. Like, absolutely slammed in that fight until he busts that Gear 4 Snake Man and finishes him off with King Cobra. And now going on to Wano, because, you know, this is something huge. So, the fight with Katakuri and the fight with Big Mom, just keep those in mind for a second, along with everything else. But keep those two mainly in mind, up there with losing, you know, his crew and Ace. So like 4 big ones and the 5th one's about to go there. So in Wano, Luffy is different, become a lot more serious. As I've said this for months and months and months since we started Wano, that Luffy is a lot more serious, but he still keeps his goofiness, but it's a lot more of a serious tone. And you see everything once again. Luffy goes on to fight Kaido after he thinks that Kaido's killed them, but obviously they're not dead. He knows that, but he's just enraged that Kaido tried to attack them. Luffy comes in, tries to do whatever he can, go straight into Gear 4, and the attacks aren't doing anything. You just see Kaido keep getting up. It's because he's drunk. Keeps going down, keeps getting back up, and just Thunder Barguas him, completely knocks him out, and Luffy's just using, you know, Conqueror's Haki while he's unconscious, and it's like staring at him like from laying down. It's like he's looking up. It's an epic thing. And then after that, you sort of realise that even Luffy knows as well that he can't take on a Yonko. He's tried it. He tried it with Big Mom, couldn't touch her. She just slapped him out of the way. Katakuri, who's below her, like first commander level, probably closest to a Yonko, but still first commander level, gave him an absolute arse whipping for 90% of their fight, which was crazy. And then Luffy tries to take on Kaido and gets absolutely clapped. So it just goes to show in Luffy's head that he knows he needs the training. And this is why I've always said that Udon is like a training arc, which it kind of is. Because upon meeting Hyogoro and just, you know, seeing Eustace Kid and just fighting everything, like Luffy's just continuously just smashing, just knowing, I need to defeat him. And then learns Ryo from Hyogoro, like the advanced armament haki, where he's trying to, you know, just do what Rayleigh did. That's what he's trying to learn. And it does take a while, but he does do it on the one-off, where he pulls off, you know, the neck braces that even Kami had, what Rayleigh did back then. So he manages to pull his and Hyogoro, but it was like it was in that moment. It's like, oh my god, he's gonna die, so I need to save him. So it's like he just got the strength. And so it just goes to show that everything that goes on within One Piece, like behind him, even, you know, the big speech that he delivered in Udon, where everyone's got the, you know, the Queen plate turning green, and Luffy's looking around while they're all going for him because they're being told they need to. Luffy just takes them, stretches, pulls them all in, and he's literally like dying himself. Even Chopper knows that, and you've got Kiku and everyone thinking, like, Luffy, what are you doing? But Luffy is delivering this big speech saying, well, I'm going to fight Kaido, I'm going to fight, you guys are going to fight because you need to save your country, but Luffy knows that he's going to be fighting for them. So if you guys want to take out Kaido, and, you know, Wano becomes, you know, amazing and not depressing, sad, and ruled by someone you don't want, let me do it. And that's when everyone believes in Luffy, and you know exactly what happens to him. But it's just that Luffy can deliver these big inspirational speeches, and you can see that Luffy is a big character. There's big presence that you need. That's someone you're relying on. Even Yamato even knows that. She's been waiting for someone like Luffy to come in, and there's Luffy. She's even compared him to Odin. That's mad. Like, going on to Onigashima after learning everything, busting out Gear 4, he's going in and out of that like no man's business. So Luffy's learned a lot of things, and Ryo's definitely a big ability boost. The way that everything is going, the way that Yamato sees Luffy, and then upon meeting him and hearing the stuff from Ace, and that, you know, Luffy's becoming a notorious pirate, and then comparing him to, you know, like Odin, and there's the whole comparisons that I'll bring up now with Joy Boy, like people saying he's a reincarnation, and that Roger just missed out on that era. And some people don't believe his reincarnation, but there is a lot of connections to Joy Boy. But that's, you know, in another thing itself. Anyway, seeing everything that Luffy goes through, he's a lot more confident, he's a lot more stronger, because he knows he's got all these people behind him that he needs to fight for, including himself. Even the people that ain't necessarily that fond of him, like Kid, but Kid will still team up with him. Law will still team up with him. But it's just, he's got to take everything. It's like he's carrying everyone on his shoulders, no matter what arc he goes through. And he just pushes through because he knows he's got that back in it. He can't give up that determination, that fearlessness, that drive, that goal, you know, to be King of the Pirates. But the difference with these two is everyone in the past has laughed him and they've not really said that they want to be king of the pirates. But going into chapter 1000, where we currently are right now, Ace knows it, even though he's dead, but he explains it to Yamato, and Yamato says she's not going to cry, and Roger said the same thing, so that's where their comparisons are. But Roger's gone it through exactly the same thing, and I will get to this like right at the end. Within chapter 1000, Luffy walks through both Kaido and Big Mom, and they don't even try and stop him, and he doesn't even back an eyelid. It's like he doesn't care, it's like he knows they're not going to do anything. Talks to Kinemon, has that moment, and then Kaido's pretty much turning around and saying, well, you know, he told me he was going to be king of the pirates. Big Mom says, well, he told me the same thing, and he destroyed my castle. I want an apology. And Luffy's just not listening to him. And that's when Kaido turns around and says, well, say it again, boy. Say it loud so we can all hear. And then because Luffy's just not listening to him, tries to, you know, whack him with his big-ass spiky club, Luffy jumps up in the air. It's like he's quick. And it's like, Kaido doesn't even see it. And then he comes down, uses Gear 3, and just, you know, uses Red Rock. Red Rock is a sick attack, and there's a big thing behind that. So, yeah, it's great. But it's the fact that I feel like Kaido doesn't even see it. But the difference between their first fight is the first fight with Kaido is that he basically didn't really feel the attacks. But with this one, it looks like he's got a black eye and it looks like his teeth are a bit cracked. So it's like people say, yeah, Luffy would catch him off guard. But I generally think that Luffy is on the tier of a Yonko. Whether or not you disagree, like, let me just explain this. So with everything put together, as I said, it's not just raw strength. Kaido and Big Mom could still have that raw strength, like that pure power, which they would do. But Luffy's near enough on that level. But what also pushes him up is the people behind him. So it's like one big hand of people are saying, don't give up, don't give up, keep going, keep going. Because Luffy's, you know, progressed so well since the start of the story, it makes sense for him to actually be on that same level as Big Mom and Kaido. Because Big Mom and Kaido, as much as they're brutes and they've got their own crew, they don't have that big backing that Luffy has with everyone else because their ideals are different. They want to be Pirate King, and Luffy hates it when people say they want to be the Pirate King. But he's going for it. That's his main thing, along with whatever else is in his dream, and just everyone behind him. And just to think, guys, if you want to disagree, would you be saying the same thing about Goldie Roger? When we read about the flashbacks with Goldie Roger and Garp going against the Rocks Pirates, you guys probably would have thought, yeah, no, Rocks Pirates are going to absolutely slaughter Roger. They didn't, because Roger's dream, apart from being, you know, the king of the pirates, would have gone through not exactly the same things as Luffy, because there's a different breed now of like pirates and everything that's going on. But Goldie Roger would have gone through absolute hell to get to where he is. I mean, I'd love to read his story, just everything that he went through. So give Luffy the same credit as you would give Roger. Though they're both two different people, they are, but there's a lot of comparisons and a lot of similarities between the two, and I feel like Luffy just doesn't get that credit, if you know what I mean. So just think about where you would say Goldie Roger would be, and if when you was following his journey, you'd be like, no, he'd get clapped. Well, he didn't, because he believed in himself and everyone else believed in him. Give the same credit to Luffy. That's all I'm trying to explain in this video, is that Luffy has a lot of determination and just has everyone backing him. Everyone's behind him. He's going to be our king of the pirates. Luffy, without a doubt, is one of the greatest main characters. I think he is the greatest main character of all time. Oda's just delivered us an absolute blessing within a main character. So, before I wrap up this video, two more things that I want to go over very quickly. Once again, shout outs to Ohara for this amazing project. Thank you for having me. It's been an honour and a blessing to do a video for that. And also big shout outs to the main man himself, Ichiro Oda. Congratulations on reaching 1,000 chapters. It's an achievement in your career. Wow, I wish I could do something like that, but no, I haven't got that determination to do something like that, but I have got the determination for, you know, doing videos and stuff. Like, I love doing it. You've given us a platform to talk about your amazing series and everything that we love about it, and just meeting other people as well that are into the same series. So yeah, thank you for giving us One Piece, and you know, we'll look forward to, you know, continuing on until you put down the pen for the final time, which will be a sad time. But, you know, eventually all great things must come to an end, but we will still keep supporting One Piece even till after it finishes, and you deserve a big, long break after that. So with that being said, guys, make sure to smash this video with a big fat thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you think is underappreciated about One Piece? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, share this video out on every single platform, and with that, I'll see you guys for the next video. Until then, see ya.